Hello, welcome to your Magical Monday live training. Today we are going to talk about money manifestation. I know this is something that a lot of people have challenges with, and we are going to talk a little bit about the law of abundance, some things that we can do to help manifest money in our lives, and just some cool spells and some deities that you might want to start working with. So before we even begin, I don't know if you've had a Monday like I have had a Monday, but I've had a Monday. So I'm just going to light some Palo Santo real quick and hope that my fan doesn't, that new lighter, it's complicated. I'm just going to go ahead and light some Palo Santo. Now, honestly, if you light Palo Santo, I don't know if you ever light Palo Santo or what your preferable smoke cleansing is. Palo Santo is great. It is smoking. You just can't really see it very well. Let's try this one because I have multiple in my little cauldron. The easiest way to do this is to light a candle and then put it in the actual candle, because sometimes it takes a little bit to actually catch, especially if you're reusing one that you've already burned. Little Palo Santo pro tip. But this is actually doing pretty good. Okay, so I just want to smudge a little over here. And I want you to be able to feel it as well. I'm going to do my candle trick now because this is taking too long with my new lighter. So I'm going to go, hi, Carrie. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're feeling okay. So this is the easiest way to light your Palo Santo. So you don't have to hold your lighter, light a candle, light it up in the candle. Look at that. 100 times better, right? All right, so I'm gonna get some of this delicious smoke on me, and I want, hopefully, that you can feel this, and that you can have some of this cleansing smoke your way for your Monday as well. Let me just stick it right here so we can just get started talking about money manifestation. All right. So before we even really get started into manifesting money, just making sure that I'm not on mute. I've been bad about that before. I want to talk about your money story, your relationship with money. A lot of us have, so all of us, we kind of grow up in our families, and we create, all of our beliefs about money are kind of, I guess, brought about by how we grew up around money. Did your parents save money, or did you grow up super broke? How did your parents handle money? Did you know if there are money problems? How, it's kind of important to think about not just all the money manifestation and I just want money, but kind of go a little bit inside and think about your relationship with money. Do you love money? I mean, I know obviously everybody could use more money, right? But do you love it? Does it make you anxious? Do you how does the idea of money make you feel? How does managing money make you feel? Because I'll tell you right now, the idea of money makes me anxious. I have no idea what's going on with my 401k. I probably should. I have a pension. I didn't know what it was until I got laid off from that job, and they told me hey, when you're older, you're going to get money every month. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm being completely authentic and honest with you, and I'm telling you my money story isn't that great. I'm constantly working on improving my relationship with money, and therefore that's kind of the reason why I'm asking you to take a look at how you feel and think about money. When you get paid, are you obviously you're gonna be happy, but You know, how do you feel about paying your bills? How do you feel about spending money? Does that make you feel good? Does that make you feel anxious? Does that make you feel nervous? So just sit with that. I'm just starting that, you know, we're not going to get super deep into like money shadow work today, but, you know, I just wanted to bring up these points because sometimes these can keep us from manifesting the money that we need and that we want. Okay. So just quickly, like a couple of things that you can do to kind of combat any anxiousness or uncomfortableness with money is like when you're paying your bills, you know, try to feel good about that. Try to feel like love paying your bills. And, you know, I love paying my bills. Say that out loud, even if it just, you know, it's hard sometimes. You're looking at your money fly away. You get paid and it goes away. But, you know, just do your best. Like, think about, hey, I love paying my bills. I love spending money on things that I need. I am super grateful to have the money that I need when I need it. Those sorts of things. You know, and if you could look up more about your money story, there are tons of resources on the internet. I just wanted to start off by talking about that because that seems to be like one of the biggest blocks that a lot of people have to money manifestation. Okay? All right, so I want to talk about the law of attraction. Now, I talked about some of this in just like my regular manifestation video, but these sorts of things are doubly true for money manifestation, right? You want to manifest money, you need to shift your mindset from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Now, if you are in some of the other like woo-woo groups, a lot of the time it's just like, oh, you know, don't feel restricted. Just, you know, just spend the money, especially when people are trying to sell you something. Oh my gosh, like everybody just wants you to just be in the abundance mindset. Spend money because you know you're going to get it later. I don't think those are good sales tactics. I don't think that's very ethical, but you know, there is something to be said about the abundance mindset. Now, it could be difficult if you are struggling with bills, if you know, you might have a couple bills that are late, or you're super in debt, or, you know, it's when you are really, really struggling for money, because I have been there, I've really been there. Like, it's hard to think about anything except like how much it sucks that you're struggling for money. You're like, well, I need groceries. Like, where is that coming from? You know, I mean, it impacts every part of your life. So when people say, oh, just shift your mind into the abundance mindset, just don't worry about it, that money's going to manifest itself. I know firsthand that is not easy. So I want to put that out there. If anybody like says like, oh, just think positive, you know, it's very, very difficult because money is survival. Like, it really is. So I'm not going to like give you all those platitudes, whatever, but I'm going to give you a couple of things to think about when we're talking about shifting your mindset from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Number one is focus on now, not the future. Okay, that's it. Focus on now, not the future. What is happening now? It's because when we think about the future, like, oh my gosh, like if I don't pay this bill, XYZ is going to happen. Like, the worst things are going to happen. Oh my gosh, I know I have food this week, but next week I'm going to be out of money. And you know what I mean? Like, and those, you know, that's not good energy. We don't want to put that energy out, because again, the law of attraction is like what you put out is what you attract, right? So you want to put out like these feelings of abundance so that you will get that abundance back. You don't want to, when you put out like that fear energy, you don't want that out there. You want like love and abundance and happy energies. And again, I know it's not easy, but these are just three things that you can do. Number one, focus on now, not the future. What's happening right now, not what's happening next week. Focus on now. You know, do you have a roof over your head now? I mean, and these are things that you might say out loud. Like, if you're really down, if you're really like in the hole, like money wise, you can just say, and I have said these things. Like, I have been in some dire frickin' straits before. I think like a lot of us have, You know, I think they say like most Americans are one medical emergency away from being homeless. And that's not something that a lot of people think about, right? Because it's uncomfortable to think about. So I know that I'm not the only one out here who's had some bad times. So just think to yourself, I'm focusing on now. Like right now, I have a roof over my head. Right now, I have a comfortable bed to sleep in. Right now, I'm not hungry. So even if you're in the worst, you know, even if you are, you know, having some really bad times, just focus on what's happening in the moment. Like be mindful of the moment. Because stressing out about the future, next week I might not this and that sort of thing, that does not help. That's not going to give you that like any sort of positive energy at all. Okay. Number 2 is focus on what you have and not what you don't. So a lot of this is gratitude. Like, I'm so glad that I have a roof over my head, or I'm happy. Like if I go to a job every day that I hate and I'm underpaid, you know, and they don't pay me well there, like, yeah, it could be, you know, I could dwell on the negative and be like, they don't pay me enough. I need more money. I want to do these things. I deserve this, but they don't pay me enough. Okay, so that is, again, that scarcity mindset. They don't pay me enough. Like I'm not getting what I need. Instead, focus on what you have. Like, oh, like I have this computer or this phone that I'm watching, you know, that we're, you know, communicating with over right now. I have a roof over my head right now. I have family that loves me. All of that energy, all that gratitude energy, that is all of that is energy of abundance. Okay, so when people say start a gratitude practice, it's not just because somebody thinks that you should be grateful. Like when you think about those sorts of things, it really does impact your energy and the way that you see things, like on a long-term level. So for example, one way to do this is before you go to sleep, when you're just laying in your bed and you're like, I can't sleep yet, and you're kind of in that in-between and you're tossing and turning, if you're me, just think, you know, take just a second, just take 30 seconds and think of 5 things that you're grateful for that day. Your job, your husband, your dog, your dinner, your crafts, your drums, I'm looking around my thing, the roof over your head again, like your friends. You know, just think about 5 things that you are grateful for before you go to sleep. And that helps shift that mindset. And when you're having a bad day at work or at school or just, you know, being a caretaker, you know, whatever your jam is, like we all are going to have bad days. Just taking that few seconds to take a deep breath and center yourself and think of 5 things that you're grateful for helps shift your mindset from the scarcity to abundance. It helps shift your energy into that place. And number 3, look to give, not to take. So this, especially when we're talking about, like, for example, I'm looking for a new job. I hope no coworkers on here. I'm looking for a new job. So instead of thinking, I want more money, like I want, you know, I want more money, I want this, and I want that. My mindset, I'm shifting to, I want to give. Like, what can I do for this business? Like, and also that helps you with your cover letter. What can I do to help this business grow? What can I do to help contribute in a way that this business will find valuable? How can I help? Instead of like, oh, I want money and what are the benefits? I mean, and of course, obviously all of those things are going to be important, but when your focus is on what you have to give, your energy again shifts to that abundance energy. So again, those 3 things we're focused on now, not the future. Focus on what you have, not what you don't, and look to give, not to take. Okay, so those are just a couple of things that can help shift you into the abundance mindset. Okay, now this is another thing that I talked about during my manifestation live stream, is self-questioning, because we do have some, there's always like that little jerky voice in your brain, right? And it's like, well, what if all of these terrible things happen? You know, what if this happens and what if that happens, right? So when the negative thoughts come up, it's obviously it's coming up for a reason. There's something that is bothering you. So when that negative thought comes up, you might want to consider thinking like, why am I thinking this? Where is this thought coming from? Is it coming from reality? And sometimes it is. Like, let's not pretend it isn't. Sometimes those negative thoughts are grounded in some sort of fact. Sometimes those negative thoughts are stories we're telling ourselves, right? Like, sometimes we jump to conclusions about things like, oh, you know, it could be something like, you know, even, for example, at work, like, oh, you know, I saw the decision makers coming together and they kept looking over at me. Like, I know they're cutting people. I know they're going to cut me next. Like, that is not grounded in fact. That is a story I'm telling myself, not based on facts. They were looking at me, let's say. They were just looking at me. That's not like any sort of fact that you could actually come to that sort of judgment, like they're going to lay me off next, okay? So that's just an example. But when those thoughts come up, you know, acknowledge them because they're coming up for you for a reason, and think, why do I think this? Where is this thought coming from? Is it grounded in fact? And if it is, acknowledge that. That's okay. And if it's a story that you're telling yourself, make sure that you know that it's a story you're telling yourself. And again, this comes back to the first thing that we were talking about, our money story in our relationship with money, especially for people who don't have a good relationship with money. And if I don't have a good relationship with money, I don't even mean like, oh, you overspend or, oh, you're in debt. Like, you know, most people are. They just don't talk about it. But, you know, how you feel about money. So if you feel nervous about money, if money makes you anxious, this might come up often, these stories that you might tell yourself. Like, some of those stories can be like, I don't deserve money. Why would I deserve money? You know, and then again, obviously, why are you thinking that? And is that rooted in fact? No, it's not. So just, you know, just take some time to think about, you know, these negative thoughts that come up. Also, again, back to, what if this happens? What if this happens? And this is something I try to do in my daily life, just for everything. I am a little bit of a worrier. I have anxiety, and I do have a lot of the what if everything goes wrong? What if there's a car accident? What if this? What if, you know, I go to the doctor? What if my test results are terrible? So when we have those things, and it's not just that, but it's also money. Like, what if, you know, what if I can't pay my bills? What if they screw up my paycheck again? What if all of these negative things, right? So when you have a little negative thought, the what if a-hole on your shoulder, I want you to try really hard to think of, like, what if it doesn't? What if everything's just great? What if you know, what if, like, let's say, like, my dog does not feel well. What if everything's bad? What if I need to, he just move? That's funny. He knows I'm talking about him. What if, you know, I have to take him to the vet? It's going to cost so much money. Like, it's easy to kind of get us in a tailspin, especially when we're thinking about money. Like, oh my gosh, what if, you know, that happens? But what if it doesn't? What if he just ate a lot of grass and he used to be sick in the end? You know, so yes, bad things could happen, right? But what if they don't? Because most of the time, a lot of the time, everything's fine. We spent all of that worry energy, we put all of that out into the universe, put all that yucky energy instead of the abundance energy. Like, what if it doesn't? What if it's awesome? What if nothing goes wrong? You have that power, okay? So that power is in your hands. It's in your mind, really. So instead of thinking, what if this can go wrong, think, what if it doesn't? So hopefully when that thought, not even, I mean, obviously for money issues, but even if it's not for money issues, tomorrow or tonight when something like that pops in your mind, just I hope that you take a second and think, like, what if it doesn't? What if everything's fine? Because it could be fine, okay? So that's some self-questioning, some like positive talk that you can do to shift yourself into that abundance vibration. Okay, so let's talk. Okay, so we talked about money stories and relationships and vibrations. Let's talk about witchcraft, because that's why we're here, right? So many people ask me, okay, like I want to do some money manifestation. What deities do I work with? Well, there obviously are deities that are associated with money and abundance and harvest. These are all good deities like Abundantia, Fortuna, Lakshmi. Some people work with Demeter or Ceres for money manifestation because they are goddesses of the harvest. If any of these call to you, I suggest you look into working with them. But I really, really, and I say this all the time whenever I talk about God work or spellcraft or whatever, if you're going to work with a god or a goddess, please remember they are not catalysts to your spell. They are not an herb or a crystal or a color or a candle or a this or a sigil or whatever. They are a god or a goddess. So if you do want to work with them, if you do want to ask for blessings or ask for money or ask for anything, I really, really highly, highly suggest and recommend that you create a relationship with that deity. Now, does that mean you have to work with that deity forever? No. But put in some effort. Do some research. You know, if you're going to create an altar to her, you know, look into what she likes. Give her an offering. Like, these things are super important, and they're very, like, basic, on a most basic God and goddess honoring level. These are things that you should be doing when you're calling on gods anyway. Don't just open your correspondence book, point to a god, and be like, I'm going to ask Hades for help today, or Persephone for help today. And just be like, hey, Persephone, can you help me out? Because if Persephone was a person, you wouldn't do that to them, right? So why would you do that to a god or a goddess? So I know I always say that, but just as a reminder, make sure that you are giving offerings, that you are, if you're not establishing a long-term relationship, that's fine, but, you know, make sure that you put in energy into working with this specific god or goddess, even if it's just for this one working. Besides like abundance deities, you can work with whoever your deity is, right? So if you have like a deity that you work with often, like a matron goddess or a patroness goddess or god, or however, whatever you want to call it, if you have somebody that you are devoted to, or even if you're not technically devoted to, but you do a lot of workings with, you might want to petition them instead of like choosing a god or a goddess out of a book. You've already established that relationship. Again, as always, give offerings and love and energy, you know, toward establishing and strengthening that relationship. And so when you're asking for things, you know, a god or a goddess might want to reciprocate, you know, just make sure that you're putting that energy into that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about spells, and then we'll be done. Just a little bit more. Step one is like getting clear on what exactly what exactly you want to manifest, and sometimes that's $1,000, and sometimes that's you know, a boat or a new car or whatever it is. So get clear on what it is that you want. If you're just like, I want more money in my life, that's fine. But if you're like, I want $300 by next Friday, like that is super clear. So you might want to experiment both ways, see which way might be easier for you, like which kind of channel. Sometimes when we open it up to like, I want money, it's really vague, and there's not like a lot of, it's just too vague, right? So, and you don't want it to be like, I want $100 by next Tuesday. I mean, a lot of people say that that's what you should do. And maybe that works for a lot of people. I like to kind of split the difference, kind of be vague. You know, you don't want to be like, I want $100 by Tuesday, and I want to do it by selling all my jewelry online. Because that is a very, very slim pipeline. You kind of want to open up that pipeline so that more energy can come in and more options can come in. So instead of saying, I want to get $100 by selling all my jewelry online by next Tuesday, open it up a little bit to, I want $100 by next Tuesday, because some of it might be jewelry, some of it might be that class action lawsuit you forgot that you signed up for. It could be a rebate check because you overpaid something. It could be all kinds of different things. So don't make it, and I talk about this a lot when I talk about like your spell intentions, but don't make your pipeline too small and limit your options, and don't make it so big that you can't, like, nothing really is going to concentrate to like come into you, if that makes any sense at all. So here are a couple ways that you can work on manifesting money in your life. You can create an affirmation. I know I do post a lot of money affirmations. You can use one of those, or you can come up with your own. You can turn it into a sigil. I'm going to do a training on sigils pretty soon. I'm so excited. I just got my second camera. You can't see, I'm pointing to it. You can't see it. But that, which means like I'll be able to show my desk, so I can actually do like sigil work and tarot work, and like this is how you do this, and this is how you dress a candle. All of those things I'm going to be able to do. So like it's just opened myself up to like so many new lives that I get to do for you guys. So excited. But yes, so you can create a sigil, and you know there are multiple different ways to create a sigil. One is using like a magic square. One is by eliminating, in your affirmation, you would eliminate all vowels and all double consonants. So you would just have every letter appearing once in your sentence, and you would create a shape out of those letters. There are several different ways to create a sigil. You know, you could just Google how to make a sigil, and you'd find it. Another thing is petition magic, writing, write how much money you want on paper and burn it. Many people do this on bay leaves because bay leaves are associated with prosperity. Some people will grow, especially if you're looking for like if you're not like, I want money by next month or whatever, or by next Tuesday, if you're looking like, hey, for example, like let's say I'm starting a business and I want my business to grow, and obviously I know that's not going to be overnight, most likely, because I'm just starting out. Some people actually plant seeds, like plant radish seeds, for example. Radishes grow really quickly. They're a food that grows super, super quickly. Carrie, I'm excited. I've done some sigils and they really work. Yeah, they do. They really do work. And another cool thing about sigils is you can use them in different things. Like you can use them, carve them into candles, make a sticker and put it like by you so you're seeing it all the time. There's tons of things to do with sigils. I love that. So you can like write stuff on a bay leaf. You can write how much you want. Oh, no, I was talking about radishes. Sorry. Okay, so some people will plant quick growing plants and watch them sprout, and that is like a little bit of like some sympathetic energy as you envision the seeds of your business being planted, or the seeds of your new job being planted. Like, if you're starting a new job, that's that kind of like garden magic, whether it's inside, like, by your window or not. It's really good for like when you're starting something new that you're hoping will last a while. That is some magic you can do. You can charge a glass of water with your intention and drink it. You can create a gem elixir, which is you put a crystal in water and drink it, although you want to be very, very careful. Before you do any sort of gem elixir, you want to make sure that the crystal that you're using is not water soluble or toxic, or both. Most of the ites you don't want to do it with. Like most of the ites, like selenite, malachite, the azurite, those sorts of things are usually water soluble or toxic. And obviously there are more than just those, but that is just something to think about. I know a lot of people do gem elixirs. I'm in some like crystal groups, and sometimes they're like, I did a gem elixir with selenite and now my water is all cloudy and my selenite is all messed up. But you put a water soluble rock and water, so it disintegrated. So just be really careful if you do gem elixirs. If not, if you don't have any gems or crystals, that's fine too. You can just simply charge, just take your water, just charge it with your intent. You can infuse it with your energy, however you like to do your spell work. So some people like to just infuse it with their intent. Some people like to actually raise energy, whether it's like the visualization, like and bringing the energy into your body. You can do that. If you're used to grounding and centering, if you're used to bringing earth energy up through your body, you could totally do that and charge a glass of water as well. Of course, like money and prosperity and abundance and all of that good stuff is correlated with earth. So if you're doing any spell work, you're going to want to use earth sorts of things. So if you are using candles, you might want to dress it with an earthy essential oil or warm up the candle. Like if it's a taper candle, warm it up and roll it in herbs. Same thing, like if you have a tea light candle, if that's all you have, you can warm that up. You can do it with a hairdryer. Same thing with your taper candles. If you want to add herbs to the outside of it, super easy. Warm it up with your hairdryer. What I like to do is I like to put down wax paper, and I'll show you in a future thing probably. Put down wax paper, put your candle, if you have a tea light on it, use your hairdryer. My hairdryer's right there. I have a small bathroom. Heat up your tea light, and then you can add herbs to it. You know, obviously you don't want to like fill it with herbs, so it's just basically a flaming herb ball, but you want to add a couple herbs or a couple crystals or a couple drops of essential oil, and then just let it solidify back up. That totally works. That's totally awesome. I love making spell candles like that. Same thing with the taper candles. If you have wax paper, I don't know if anybody else, like I grew up with wax paper, so of course I have wax paper, but I don't know if you do. But you can just get your wax paper out, get your taper candle out, warm it up a little bit, just so it's like a little bit soft with your hair dryer or a heat gun if you have like a, one of those heat guns. And just, you can sprinkle the herbs on it and roll it with your wax paper. It's super easy to do. So those are a couple of ideas. Make sure that I don't want to say make sure, so you don't have to. You don't have to do anything. But if you want all of your intentions to align, it's a good idea to dress the candle with like a prosperity oil, like basil, bergamot, bay, cinnamon is good, but make sure if you have essential oil, if you're using actual essential oil and not just fragrance oil, that you want to be really careful that you're diluting it, especially with something like cinnamon, because cinnamon will really mess up your skin. And so just be really careful about that. And if you want to dress your candles, I would definitely suggest those sorts of essential oils. Carry. My grandma always tied either green or purple around faucets and said, as the water flows out, money grows. I've done this many times, and again, it worked. 2 of the tough times we've gone through recently. Yeah, that's great. I love that. That totally makes sense to me. So there are all different kinds of cool things that you can do. Another thing, since we were just talking about candle magic, is you can create a candle, like especially for your prosperity or money, and you can carve your intention into it. Again, if you made a sigil, you can use that sigil. There are tons of different symbols you can use. You can actually create your own symbols. You don't need to use symbols that other people say to use. But there are some kind of cool little hacks that you can do. Unfortunately, I don't have like a taper candle. But if you have like let's say a green taper candle, and you're a busy girl, you're a busy witch, right? You don't have time to like burn a whole taper candle and like pay attention to it and do all the focusing because you're gonna do a spell. What you can do is you can take a taper candle and you can stick 6 pins into it, right? So you can take your taper candle and use just straight pins like for sewing and stick 6 evenly spaced pins in your candle. So it will create 7 sections. Now, obviously, then you're going to put it in your candle holder. You're going to do your spell or whatever it is that you're going to do to your candle. Obviously, if you're going to dress your candle, do that before you stick the pins in. light the candle and just let it burn until the first pin falls out. The end. Then extinguish it, and then the next night you do the same. So you're only like burning like 1 inch at a time. Okay. Another cool thing you can do with a candle is kind of create a vision board candle. So if you've ever made a vision board, I need to make a new vision board. You know, you basically have a vision, you kind of connect with it, and then you take pictures from a magazine and put them on a board of some sort. I like foam board for vision boards actually, instead of the like flimsy poster board. I like a sturdy foam board for that. You can take that and do the same thing, but instead of that, just use like a novena candle. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can get one of these candles. I have not made a vision board candle. I kind of want to now that we're talking about it. But you can just, instead of putting all of those pictures and those words that you're finding in that magazine on a board, you can glue them onto a candle, and that totally will work. I'll probably do one of those next time I go to the market, because I got rid of a lot of my magazines because I had like a lot of magazines. But I think the next time I do that, I'm going to create a vision board candle. The cool thing is with a vision board candle is obviously a vision board, depending on how big you make it, has to go somewhere. You know, not everybody has wall space or space to put it, because you really are. The idea is you create the vision board and you put it in front of you to look at every day and to subconsciously kind of remind you of your vision and to kind of encourage and support you. Now, if you do it on a candle and it's on your altar, and if you go to your altar every day, or if you put it on the candle and it's like you just put it right in front of your desk, you know, you just put it in the place where you're going to see it every day, in your bathroom, whatever, you know, and you can light it when you're doing money magic work, or prosperity work, or abundance work, or vision board work, or whatever work that you are doing to get closer to your vision. You can light that candle. So you don't have to have a lot of wall space or a place to put a vision board, because again, you know, most of us have some, you know, we have like some space limitations. So you can make a vision board candle. And then, I need to do that vision board candle, Tracy. Yes, like it's really cool. I really, you know, I've done it before a long time ago. I need to do it again. I really enjoyed it. And also, like, if you want to, the cool thing about a vision board candle is nobody knows what it is. So, you know, there also are these smaller ones too. So if you just did something like that, like if you're having problems at work or whatever, or, you know, if you wanted to learn to cook better, like whatever your vision is, you can just do that. You can put it in your kitchen. You can put it on your desk at work, even if you don't light it. You know, it's pretty small and kind of portable. Another thing you can do, because, you know, these candles tend to burn for a long time. Another thing you can do, and I think I'm going to do like a little play shop on this, is create kind of, remember how I talked about the pins? You can create something very similar with a 7-day candle from the grocery store and some washi tape or a Sharpie. This is, you know, you can just see I've split this up with some sections so I can burn it a little bit at a time. And again, this is like for prosperity. However, you can do this, you know, for any sort of intention. I think I only split this up into 9 sections. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. 8 sections. But if you had thinner washi tape, or you know, just used a Sharpie, you can split it up into as many sections as you want. So that might mean you burn it every night, or you burn it once a week, or, you know, whatever your plan is. Don't forget about the grocery store. I know many of us are on a budget, especially if we're going to be doing money manifestation. Doesn't mean we're all on like a super budget, but I understand the importance of spending money wisely. So that is it. that is it for money manifestation. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? I think next week, I forgot what we have next week, but I think we have another training next week. And then I'm gonna probably get like super crazy with the trainings because I have my extra camera now, so I can like show you the things, and I can show you how to dust candles, and I can show you how to make that. Like I can show you how to, you know, dress up your tea lights and all of the fun things. I'm so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am. And if I do readings for a while, I don't know. I know some of you guys are pretty new here. But for a while last year, I was doing online tarot readings just for fun, on my actual page, my Ivy Rose Latchford page. I share it in here, but we do it on the page. And the fact that I could do that and actually like not have to be like, look at this card. I'm so excited. This has nothing to do about money manifestation, but I'm very excited about it. So I wanted to share anyway. All right. So it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. If anybody does have any questions, or you come up with any questions afterwards, you know, you let some of this information sink in and have any questions, go ahead and post your question in the comments and tag me, or you can, or even better, you can post your question to the group, because I'm sure we all have different experiences, and I'm sure that there are lots of people that will have some experiences to share and some advice to share. You know, we have this amazing group of women, and we are all of all different like experience levels and all different experiences. So it's a really good, like, giant amount of knowledge and experience to pull from. So don't forget about that. All right. Okay. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye.